So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to add and subtract complex numbers. So when we add complex numbers, we're going to use methods very similar to the ones we used when we were adding polynomials. Remember, what we would do is identify the like terms in each expression and then combine them. So for example, if we're adding 3 plus 5x plus 4 minus 3x, we first combine the 3 and 4, which gives us 7, and then we combine the 5x and minus 3x, which gives us 2x. Remember, we leave this plus sign in our final answer because 7 and 2x are unlike terms that cannot combine. So when we do this with complex numbers, we're going to combine the real parts separately and then the imaginary parts separately. So for example, if we have 2 plus 5i plus negative 8 plus 6i, we combine 2 and negative 8, and that gives us negative 6. And then we combine 5i plus 6i, which gives us 11i. So our final answer is negative 6 plus 11i. So the great thing about complex numbers is that you can do them on your graphing calculator. So for example, if we want to do 2 plus 5i plus negative 8 plus 6i, we just go to our calculator, and you can get the parentheses from these buttons right here that are above the number keys. So we do parentheses and then 2 plus 5, and we need to use this key for our decimal point to get I, because you can see I is written in blue right above it. So we do second and then this decimal key. Okay, and then we have 2 plus 5i, and then plus, parentheses, negative 8 plus 6, and then we do second decimal point. All right, and then when we hit enter, it goes ahead and computes that for us. Okay, so you can see we get negative 6 plus 11i. So let's do some practice problems now and work with addition. So we have negative 5 plus 8i plus negative 1 minus 6i. So I'm going to go ahead and combine the real parts. So we have negative 5 plus negative 1, and then plus the imaginary parts, we have 8i minus 6i. Okay, negative 5 plus negative 1 is going to be negative 6. 8i minus 6i is going to be 2i, so we have negative 6 plus 2i. Let's verify this using our calculator. So we have negative 5 plus 8i, and then plus negative 1 minus 6i. Okay, and then when we hit enter, it gives us our answer. Okay. All right, so let's try adding 3 times negative 2 plus 3i plus 2 times 2 plus 3i. So what's different here is that we have this constant that's multiplying each of our complex numbers, but that's okay because all we're going to do is distribute that number to each of these terms. So for example, 3 times negative 2 is going to give me negative 6 plus 3 times 3i is going to be 9i. And then we have plus 2 times 2 is 4, and then plus 2 times 3i, which is 6i. Now we're going to use our addition process, right? We're going to pull out the real parts. So we have negative 6 plus 4, and then we pull out the imaginary parts, which we have 9i plus 6i. So negative 6 plus 4 is going to be negative 2, and then plus 9i plus 6i, which is 15i. Let's make sure that we did this correctly using our calculator. So we have 3 parentheses, negative 2 plus 3i. Okay, so we close our parentheses and then do plus 2 parentheses, 2 plus 3i. And now when we hit enter, you see that it does give us the same answer. So now you can go ahead and pause the video and try doing this example on your own. So when we do this problem, once again, we pull out the real part. So we have 5 plus 2, which is 7, and then negative 7i plus 4i, which is negative 3i. So we have 7 minus 3i. Remember, you can always use your calculator to check. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we have 5 minus 7i plus 2 plus 4i. And when we hit enter, it does give us the same answer. So we can also subtract complex numbers. And once again, this is very similar to what we did when we were subtracting polynomials. Remember, we didn't actually subtract, we used the fact that subtracting is the same thing as adding the opposite. So we would keep the first polynomial the same, right? The 6 plus 5x stays as it is. Then we switch this minus sign in the middle to a plus, and then we distribute that minus to every term in the second polynomial. What that does is it basically switches the signs of both these terms. So instead of this being a 2, it's going to become a negative 2. Instead of a minus 3x, this is going to become a plus 3x. And then we just add. right? So we do 6 plus negative 2, so that's 6 minus 2, which is 4. And then we do 5x plus 3x, so that's just 8x. Very similar to what we're going to do with complex numbers, right? We have 4 minus 8i minus 3 minus 6i. We switch this to a plus, and then we switch all the signs on the second number. So we have, instead of 3, negative 3. Instead of minus 6i, we have plus 6i. 4 plus negative 3 is 4 minus 3, which is 1. Minus 8i plus 6i is going to give us minus 2i. So once again, we can do this on the calculator. So we can type parentheses 4 minus 8i, and then minus 3 minus 6i. And then when we hit enter, it gives us 1 minus 2i. So let's practice with some subtraction problems. So I'm going to start off by switching those signs. So this is going to become negative 2 plus 6i plus, and then that 5 is going to now become a negative 5. And then instead of minus 3i, I have plus 3i. So let's pull out the real parts. So we have negative 2 plus negative 5 plus 6i plus 3i. So negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7, plus 6i plus 3i is going to be 9i. Let's make sure that we did this correctly using our calculator. So we have negative 2 plus 6i, and then minus 5 minus 3i. So when we hit enter, it gives us our answer, which is negative 7 plus 9i. So now let's try this problem. So here, all that's different is we have a constant that we're going to distribute before we do our subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. So we have 15 minus 5i minus 2 times 3 is 6, and then we have plus 2i. So I'm going to switch all of these signs in the second number. So I have plus, and then this is going to become a negative 6, and then minus 2i. So when I combine my terms, I have 15 plus negative 6, and then plus I have a negative 5i and minus 2i. So 15 plus negative 6 is going to become 9, and then negative 5i minus 2i, well, that's just going to be minus 7i. So once again, I'm going to check this using my calculator. I have 5 times 3 minus I, and then minus 2 times 3 plus I. And when I hit enter, I have 9 minus 7i. So now you can go ahead and pause the video and try doing this example on your own. So we have 4 plus 6i minus negative 1 plus 2i. So remember, what we do is we switch the sign in the middle to a plus sign, and then we switch the signs on the second number. So that's going to become 1 minus 2i. Then we pull out the real parts. 4 plus 1 gives us 5. 6i minus 2i gives us 4i. So let's check this now using our calculator. We have 4 plus 6i minus negative 1 plus 2i. We hit enter, it gives us 5 plus 4i. So you can add complex numbers by combining the real parts and the imaginary parts. You can subtract complex numbers by distributing the negative to all terms in the second number and then adding the numbers together.